Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Again, still at home, so not the best setup, but we're going to work through it. Today, we're going to be running through the esports side of things if you guys are interested about that. Very, very exciting weekend about 2 weekends ago now. We had the Atlanta LAN, which leads into the Vegas LAN. Just going to kind of run through this one quickly. Want to focus more on what we're going to see and then the Vegas LAN as a whole, talk about the rosters, all that good stuff. Quickly just want to run through Group A, 5Ms, Borscht, Malvinas, and Mockingbird. Group B, Team Risk, Food Drive for Globe, Smoke Break, and Los Lille. These were decided from Team Risk and 5Ms. They were picking teams to put on the other side's bracket, so that's how these groups happened to be. The Group A stage ended with Team Name with 5Ms, 3-0, Borscht 2-1, Mockingbird 1-2, and Malvinas 0-3. Team Name with 5Ms swept every game. Malvinas did not take a game. Same-ish thing, at least for the other Spanish team. Los Lille did not pick up a game. They were both not with their full rosters, both Malvinas and Los Lille. They showed a lot, but they need to scrim a little bit more against high NA rosters or high EMEA rosters. They were locked out of a lot of scrims, but I think this is a solid showing depending on what you kind of take from it. Obviously, they didn't win anything, but this is like that first step you kind of need to take. You need to go to LAN, get beaten down a little bit, learn from that, start scrimming. Improve. But Group B had a lot more interesting stage after because how it worked is Smoke Break 2-0'd Team Risk, Food Drive 2-0'd Smoke Break, and then Team Risk 2-0'd Food Drive. So it became a 2-1 split across the board, and all of them had plus-minus of 2. So we go to a tiebreaker situation. In the tiebreaker, we get all 3 games played best of ones. If it's still tied after that, it's depending on how fast your win was. Through all of it, Smoke Break ended up 2-0ing. Team Risk 0-2, and Food Drive for Globe went 1-1. So your 1 seed coming out of the group is for Smoke Break, your 2 seed is Food Drive, and your 3 seed is Team Risk. This is the first set of the Vegas. This is round 1, Team Risk versus Borscht. Team Risk was the 3 seed coming out of Group B. Borscht was the 2 seed coming out of Group A. I just want to kind of go through these quickly, highlight some of the things in the game. Just more of like a sports center. Here's what happened very quickly. So at this point in the game, Borscht has kind of been dominating the entire time. Team Risk can't really get a foot in the door, other than in dual lane, where Genetics actually started out 3-0. Gets to a 3-3-3 stat line, but solo lane is kind of bleeding. Variety down 4 levels.
It feels really forced, and Risk is doing a great job at baiting it out.
Step up from Genetics. Wild Hunt hits. Lasmer in trouble too, but now they've split the difference and
in a very awkward fight. Rat Milk ults very early.
To Genetics, who gets the shutdown goal too, and Borscht find themselves a man down.
And getting this advantage. Massive cuckoo damage onto Baskin.
Get away, turns the corner, is still alive. Brings down Pagon, who was in a
does get the kill into Pagon. Does get the kill into Jake.
But not long enough, and will follow suit in the grayscale.
And also a kill on Define OK. Slows the game down a ton, which is exactly what they need in this position. They were getting stomped. This gives them some breathing room. After a little bit more game time, Team Risk slowly starts to claw back into the game. They finally start breaking open the game. They get a Fire Giant, and they look to siege the game.
It's complete. Now the mid Phoenix being looked at solely by Variety, who's plenty okay.
Having both Fire Giant and Ancient Fury, Variety gets picked.
To save Variety, Borscht have a chance to step up. The Agony hits this time, and Jake takes through a lot. In goes Fine OK. Can they find kills? Yes, they can. A double for Baskin. Pagon starts cleaning up too. Genetics will turn around to buy some time, but he should go down. And Borscht, hang on.
And despite the massive lead, Borscht is able to get those kills there and look for a siege.
On each side lane, it's going to be close.
Ulting Theeks right off the bat. Not a great trade. Theeks gets a very nice Aegis and a big ultimate. Massive damage by Theeks after a attempted end by Borscht. Team Risk is finally able to march it down and get the dub. Same essential story in Game 2. Massive lead for Borscht. Team Risk can really get nothing going. Again, it's the same solo lane matchup, and Fine OK is kind of dominating over there again, but it's not nearly as drastic, and most of it is just coming down to picks like this.
Not a Rat Milk around the corner. Ready to do some work. Theeks, though,
just nothing a Zeus can really do with the wall, the CC, the damage. That's what it's been. And after a bunch of swinging back and forth, we finally get to a later portion of the game where the game is essentially even. You actually have a very slight gold lead for Team Risk, very slight kill lead for Borscht, but it kind of comes down to this one final fight.
To make something happen, gets the cage around Fine OK. The storm hits, but there's a little angle for Fine OK, but is it enough? The heart bomb's on. Tanky enough. He's okay.
Fine OK barely lives. A lot of shields.
He's got backup as well. That's one dead on Borscht, and now the split.
Baskin assassinates on the side.
Baskin finds one, but goes down, and Streak.
But you know who's pounding this entire time?
By Ratmilk, 3 dead, make it 4 with a triple kill from Streak. Jake will join the pile of bodies. Quadra kill for Streak.
Massive quad for Streak. They end up winning the game, plenty of time, and a 2-0 for Team Risk in the first round. And after a very interesting early game, Mockingbird is actually taking a lead. A lot of Deduin just dominating Karmic, a lot of ganks over the lane with Herox, and they've got themselves out to a nice little lead right now. 8-3, up 3,000 gold. They have Fire Giant, which they literally just got. Unfortunately, a very awkward setup. They have Deduin in right lane, who is massive right now, and they're 4-manned in mid.
They have to square up. They gotta focus up. They'll pluck one back with the River's Rebuke. Try to lock one down, but the Kepri ult is up. It'll be hard to lock it down. Lurking in the swamp, waits for it to go down. It is down. Execute has the sub-execute double kill. Spun gives him a double right back. Up with the airstrike.
And a nice 2-for-2, taking Fire Giant off of both Hawk and Calvin, slowing down the push. Also, interesting caveat with this game. This is the only Kepri we saw all weekend. You're about to see, you know, did it win its only game? Did it lose its only game? At around 21 minutes into the game, still nice little lead for Mockingbird. Hasn't really given much up other than that one fight. They still find themselves at about a 10k gold lead, pulling Fire Giant. And Food Drive for Globe decides they kind of have to take this fight here, slow them down.
But it doesn't seem like they're doing that. If anything, they're in trouble. AR, River's Rebuke is up. Can they find a pick here? Aegis. And Hawk will survive for now. Valo trying to get out of the way. He thought he could find Spud, but Spud...
Hawk does die.
And now another gravestone pops up in the arena. Karmic adds himself to the tomb. More on Food Drive, maybe joining him shortly. He's got pigged.
Doesn't really seem to matter. I think the lead is enough. They get the kill. And kind of an awkward end here. Play this one through just a little bit. Tegvir and Globe sit on the right side. Spud and Deduin look for the end. This build that kind of came up, that Deathwalker came up with, it allows you to kill Fire Giant, or kill Titans very quickly. As you can see, the CERN, the Alma, shred this. And game 1 goes Mockingbird's way. Kepri gets his only win of the weekend. A little bit of a similar story in game 2. Mockingbird's out to a nice little lead. They have about an 8k gold lead at this point. Nothing really too massive to talk about in this game. I mean, Mockingbird has been the better team through this game, but nothing in the first 21 minutes is worth to really talk about, other than just they've gotten this lead. Part of it's on Herox, part of it's on Hawk, part of it's on Deduin. It's just kind of across the board. But Carmen's kind of worked himself into an okay spot also.
When you say so many words, your neurons stop working at some point.
Of course.
But you know what hasn't stopped working? These Fire Giant pools for Mocking.
Another defense by Food Drive.
Spear will stun him for a second, and you Storm Call blink in. Hope to steal it.
And Happen stole it.
And maybe a bright spot, but they gotta survive. Most of them need to live.
They do kill.
You don't want to sacrifice.
Still a pretty big lead.
Get out of there. Lightning storm down.
But a very weird fight here by Mockingbird. Very split. And it's almost the exact opposite for Food Drive. They're exactly where they need to be.
Herox is now in trouble without the leap. Don't get greedy. Tegvir comes in, full on Jingwei, gets frozen out. Tegvir kills Calvin. Still wants to get more.
And Tegvir goes insane. With that Fire Giant, Food Drive has eventually kind of calmed the game down, gotten to an even spot. 27 minutes into the game, this game is completely even. Nothing is really sticking out as you need to watch this, other than maybe, you know, the jungle so far. Valo 156 not doing too much. On the opposite side, Herox 736 doing a whole lot.
They're doing in trouble. He had to blink out. Will ult dash. The enhanced ability is down now. He's got nothing left to escape.
Very weird fight again by Mockingbird. Deduin's going in by himself, and the team is not with him.
And have to find a way back in. And everybody stood tall here. You see Happen.
And trying to play into a Sobek while you're behind is never easy. Herox insta-killed. And with that Fire Giant, they end before Herox can even spawn. Looking at the next game, the third game, as we are in a best of 3. Food Drive for Globe has 1, Mockingbird has 1. We're in a different spot than we've seen before. Usually it's been Mockingbird kind of dominating in kills and also having an XP and gold lead. This game is kind of an even game. I mean, yeah, Food Drive for Globe down 7 kills, but they have the gold lead, they have the XP lead. For the most part, this game is pretty much even. Karmic did get picked slightly before this, leaving open an opportunity for maybe a Fire Giant for Mockingbird.
Herox will wait for a couple more seconds. Happen. He can't wait for too much longer, though. Lurking in the waters. He doesn't have a lot of voids. The heck of the ult, but can't.
Happen gets killed. Tegvir dashes.
Now he's gonna ult. He knows he's got the meat. getting it down. Tagbeer's out. Valo will get Herox down though. Not an insignificant kill, but there's Spud.
And somehow, some way,
The gods are pleased as more
Karmic gets a triple kill. Not a trade you'd expect for how dominant it looked early. But Karmic went insane. And pretty much the same thing happens over the next few minutes, going towards the next Fire Giant. 24 minutes, game is pretty much even again. Mockingbird has a slight map advantage. They're the ones kind of, posted up, looking for the picks and stuff like that. But this game is even. And you got to look at the solo laners. 6-0-9 for Deduin.
There's a pluck on a Deduin. Do you want Deduin in your backline?
Mockingbird. What are we doing? Think they can just one-shot fire before Deduin dies. They did secure fire.
They want to kill everybody now. Food Drive don't want anybody to have this buff. Calvin protects the retreat, picks up the wall, and that's a huge steal. Yep, you will take it. Mockingbird's able to grab it, but Food Drive, they still have the one-man advantage, and the one man is Deduin.
And with this, though,
Chalk that just got shut down. What can
they're confident.
In the meantime? I mean, yeah,
Deduin was like a lot of the advantage.
But can you still fight and pay attention to Karmic? Already has ult up, and he's coming from the back.
Invis Hades.
They don't see him. They don't know. And the god of the underworld pulls up through. Take fear, make sure Hawk dies. Look how much damage Karmic is doing. The snipe.
3 more kills, and somehow, some way, Mockingbird gets that win. Looking on that siege. Still not over yet, especially with Happen walking into that damage, though.
Gets a lot done. Look how much damage he's doing. Gets the axe out. They don't care. They're going for your Titan. It's Melt. Good ult. He's going to get through. Tagbeer kills Herox. Food Drive. Kill Mockingbird. But they're flinks. They're still flapping. Deduin. He's doing it. Deduin. He's going. The freeze. Oh my god. And triple kill doesn't matter. Food Drive win.
And with that, 69 health left on the Titan. Karmic is able to kill it. Food Drive for Globe wins this 2-1, advancing through, getting us to this spot in the Vegas Founders Tournament, which will be happening in January. Food Drive for Globe taking on 5Ms, who the only team who didn't drop a single game. Not even a single set. They didn't drop a single game this tournament. We'll be taking on Food Drive for Globe. Smoke Break versus Team Risk, who Team Risk just... I wouldn't say dominated Borscht. I actually think they've looked a little sloppy, but they beat Borscht, and Mockingbird, Borscht are in the lower bracket. And looking at the teams, I just want to talk very quickly about all the teams. Team Risk, honestly, a little underwhelming display by them. I think they did not really adapt to the meta very well. I think they looked off. They had a fine weekend, but that's not what you expected as the #1 team who didn't drop a single set or game coming into this tournament, especially when they were probably the worst EU team here. Like, I mean, maybe Mockingbird, but I think Mockingbird at least showed a lot also. Team Risk, I think Streak actually was one of the ones that I would think played some of the best for this team. I think Theeks played mediocre. I think Genetics played fine, I guess. Lasber and Variety looked a little inconsistent. I think Streak was the one consistency through this team. Mockingbird, honestly, very impressive from them. I really liked the Spud Calvin dual lane. I need them to just get more confident and more comfortable. I think most of the time when Mockingbird's winning, they're playing through Deduin and Herox. Hawk is mostly like a farming AFK mid laner, like most EU mid laners are. I think if Calvin and Spud can become more confident, this team has another lane to play through, and they become a much scarier team. Smoke Break, dominant performance by them. Across the board, really their only big stumbles came when Ecrom didn't buy a relic versus Food Drive for Globe, and Karmic, I mean, talked about it a lot. Karmic knew that, recognized it, and was just going for Ecrom off cooldown. They lost that set to Food Drive, but I mean, other than that, Smoke Break looked very, very good. Benko has looked great. Johnny has looked great. Sap, I've been very impressed with. I think he is one that I still need to see a little bit more from. I think it's fine, but he's not. I haven't been like impressed by him. But to be honest, I don't think most of the EU mids have been that impressive. So I think Sap's done fine. And then Elion, Ecrom, I think Elion has given them some aggression, and it's kind of the same issue that Mockingbird has. When you see like Benko, Johnny teams, most of the time they're playing through dual or solo lane. This kind of gives you that opportunity to play through an Elion lane and Ecrom lane, and I think Ecrom has played really well when he's got a lead. When he plays from behind, though, I'm a little worried. He also, when he does get a lead, can int a little bit. That's part of the reason they actually lost another game, was that Ecrom had a lead, was doing too much, and then would get punished for it, but I like the aggression. I think that's how you win. You just kind of have to learn it a little bit more, know when to go forward, when to play back, yada, yada, yada. Team of 5Ms, far and away the most impressive team at the tournament. I think Cherry has been unbelievable. I think his Hades has been great. I think he kind of dictated the solo lane meta. I've loved that. Scream has been very comfortable, very confident. We've really not seen actually a ton of this team because they've only played 6 games, but across the board, I've really liked how this team plays. I have nothing bad to say about this team. I'm excited to see them play. I'm very excited for that first set. Yeah, this is a great team. Food Drive for Globe, far and away the most impressive team at the tournament. Team of 5Ms, far and away the most impressive team at the tournament. And that's saying a lot with like expectations to how well they did, because Team of 5Ms expected to be the number 1 NA team. We're the number 1 NA team. A lot of people thought Food Drive for Globe might not even like make it. Like they were expecting them to maybe even lose to one of the LATAM teams. Great performance. I think 2 issues I have with this team. Valo's inconsistency. I think when he's playing great, this team looks phenomenal. When he's playing bad, this team can still win, but it happens too much. I think this team has what it takes to win, but when you're playing, under the lights, in front of a crowd, all that good stuff, can you still do what you did in the Atlanta LAN, online, yada yada? I think they need to stick with their funky picks in dual lane. I don't want to see Happen play passive gods in support. I want to see aggression with him and Tegvir. I think that's their best style, and Globe, I think, played pretty well. Lastly, Borscht. They were kind of neutered a little bit with Baron being banned, because I think that's Final K's best god by like a wide margin. I think the Poseidon was fine, but having no Baron, it kind of shifted their P's and B's, and it made it easier to draft against them. I think Ratmilk, very impressive, probably the most impressive player on this team. Baskin, I really have not liked his picks. I don't like the Anubis, and he loves going back to it. Like, it's fine some games, but he kind of opts for it every game, which makes it something you can kind of game plan against and predictable. It's not horrible, but I think there are better picks a lot of the time. Jake, very good games, very bad games. That's just what you get with Jake. Try to play as aggressive as possible with him, so you have more good games than bad games. And then Pegon's kind of the same way, where he's almost more aggressive than Jake. So as long as these two pick pressure in dual lane, they have a chance. I'm just a little worried with Baskin's God Pool, and then if this team falls behind in duo, how well can they play? But yeah, that's for Vegas, happening in January. I hope you guys are excited. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Also, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.